Hello and welcome to day 35 of revising UPSC previous year questions for UPSC 2027. In this video, I will cover GS4 of 2021, and after this, I will complete. I completed 2021, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But as I said in my previous videos that for GS, I am covering only the theoretical questions as of now, and thereafter I will jump on to case studies later and make separate videos for that. But in these videos, I am going through the theoretical questions only. Okay, so in this video also, I will cover the theoretical questions asked in the year 2021, and by this, I am done with the 5 years of previous year questions for mains. So let's get started with question number 1. Identify 5 ethical traits on which one can plot the performance of a civil servant. Justify their justify their inclusion in the matrix. Performance evaluation in public service cannot rely solely on quantitative outputs. It must incorporate ethical traits to ensure that administrative actions remain aligned with constitutional values and public interest. 5 ethical traits and justification. Ethical performance matrix. So this is integrity and honesty, empathy and compassion, objectivity and impartiality. So the 5 traits are integrity, ensures unyielding adherence to moral principles, preventing corruption and misuses of authority. Example, TN Sessions electoral reforms. Empathy and compassion directs administrative discretion toward uplifting marginalized citizens. Example, ensuring food welfare access for elderly citizens lacking digital IDs. Objectivity guarantees evidence-based meritocratic decision making free from personal bias, nepotism, or political pressures. Accountability holds officers answerable for decisions, promoting financial transparency and institutional trust. Commitment to public service prioritizes collective welfare over personal safety or career convenience. Example, civil servants managing disaster relief under harsh conditions. Incorporating these ethical traits into performance appraisals transforms bureaucracy from a mechanical rulebook machinery into a responsive, trustworthy, and citizen-centric governance framework. Question 1b. Identify 10 essential values that are needed to be an effective public servant. Describe the ways and means to prevent non-ethical behavior in the public servants. Public values represent the ethical foundation governing administrative conduct. An effective civil servant synthesizes foundational ethical principles with operational competence to deliver justice and welfare. 10 essential values: integrity, impartiality, objectivity, empathy, accountability, transparency, dedication to duty, courage of conviction, leadership, inclusiveness. Preventing non-ethical conduct. Institutional controls, individual cultural alignment. So strong whistleblower protection, CVC, Lokpal and asset disclosure, value-based mid-career training, code of conduct, code of ethics and exemplary penalties. Ways and means to prevent non-ethical behavior. Institutional oversight is strengthening anti-corruption institutions, CVC, Lokpal, CBI, and enforcing mandatory annual asset disclosures. Whistleblower safeguards, enforcing robust protection laws to encourage internal disclosure of administrative wrongdoing. Code of ethics implementation, moving beyond rigid conduct rules to value-based behavioral codes backed by swift disciplinary actions under Article 311. Integrity audits and moral training, conducting periodic integrity assessments and integrating experiential ethics training at Labasna. Actually, I do not know why we call it as Labasna. How we can pronounce it Laba? It is LBSNA. LBSNA. It is a correct pronunciation, right? Why not? I don't know. I do not know why we call it labasna. Maybe in Hindi. Actually, yeah, because it is named after Lal Bahadur Shastri, so that is why La Ba means Bahadur and then SN AA Labasna, whatever. So, example mission karmi hogi. Combining robust institutional oversight with continuous moral re-engineering builds an ethical, resilient administrative culture dedicated to selfless public service. Question 2a. Impact of digital technology as reliable source of input for rational dedication for rational decision making is a debatable issue. Critically evaluate with suitable examples. Rational decision making requires objective, accurate, and comprehensive data inputs, while digital technology, AI, big data, remote sensing enhances administrative precision. Total reliance on digital algorithms introduces systemic, ethical, and operational blind spots. Critical evaluation, positive impacts, efficiency and rationality, evidence based policy, satellite mapping, example PM Fasal Bima Yojana and real time dashboards, enable objective crop loss estimation and resource allocation, targeted welfare delivery. Digital databases like Aadhaar and eShram eliminate ghost beneficiaries, enhancing financial transparency. Digital decision making dualism. So, strength and risk, you can go through this flowchart. Ethical challenges and limitations. Digital exclusion, biometric failures in rural PDS outlets deny food grains to elderly or manual workers, creating digital denial of rights. Algorithmic bias, machine learning models trained on skewed historical data can perpetuate socio-economic discrimination in credit or policing tools. Erosion of empathy, over reliance on metrics risk reducing human suffering to cold data points, eroding administrative discretion. A digital technology must serve as a decision support system, not a suitable or human judgment. Balancing data precision with administrative empathy ensures rational, compassionate governance. Question 2b. Besides domain knowledge, a public official needs innovativeness and creativity of a high order as well, while resolving ethical dilemmas discussed with suitable examples. Ethical dilemmas occur when administrative rules conflict with human compassion or competing public duties, while domain knowledge provides legal clarity. Resolving complex moral deadlocks demands innovative innovative problem solving to uphold both rule of law and human dignity. Role of innovativeness in resolving dilemmas. So, ethical dilemma resolution, rigid rules versus public good, creative administrative innovation, win-win outcome. Transcending rigid bureaucracy, innovation allows administrators to find out of the box solutions where conventional rules create social distress. Harmonizing law and empathy prevents the false choice between breaking rules or denying humanitarian relief. Practical example scenario: an elderly, undocumented, destitute woman lacks formal ID papers required under administrative rules to access shelter and emergency food ration. Conventional response: denying entry due to strict document compliance, legal but unethical. Creative innovative resolution: the officer uses discretionary community funds or pairs with a local NGO to grant immediate relief while simultaneously setting up an on-spot mobile registration drive to generate her legal identity. A real-world parallel. Armstrong Payne constructing the People's 100-kilometer road in Manipur via crowdfunding without waiting for delayed government grants. Innovativeness convert Innovativeness converts administrative constraints into opportunities for compassionate governance, ensuring that the spirit of justice overrides procedural rigidity. Question 3a. Every work has got to pass through hundreds of difficulties before succeeding. Those that preserve Those that preserves will see the light sooner or later. Swami Vivekananda, what does this quotation means to you? Swami Vivekananda emphasizes perseverance, moral fortitude, and resilience as indispensable prerequisites for meaningful success. Difficulties are not barrier to progress, but necessary trials that refine human character and institutional resolve. Perseverance cycle in public life: initial adversities, moral resilience, institutional persistence, lasting impact. Relevance in civil services and public life: overcoming institutional resistance, socio-economic reforms naturally encounter political pressure, bureaucratic inertia, and public skepticism. Sustaining long-term vision, complex societal challenges such as eradicating malnutrition or corruption demand persistent effort rather than short-term enthusiasm. Illustrative examples: historical Mahatma Gandhi's decades-long non-violent struggle faced repeated setbacks in incarceration and criticism, yet persistent adherence to satyagraha dismantled colonial rule. Administrative: Dashrath Manji carving a path through a mountain over 22 years demonstrates how individual perseverance overcomes impossible physical odds. Civil services: developing critical infrastructure in LWE affected left-wing extremism affected districts requires officers to preserve despite security threats and terrain challenges. For a civil servant, perseverance converts public duty from a routine job into a moral mission, ensuring that systemic adversity yields to transformative social progress. We can never obtain peace in the outer world until and unless we obtain peace within ourselves. Dalai Lama, what does this quotation mean to you? The Dalai Lama highlights the deep linkage between internal emotional stability and external societal harmony. Outer conflict, intolerance, and corruptions are merely projections of internal unrest, greed, and moral confusion within individuals. Inner peace to public harmony: emotional intelligence, ethical integrity, conflict resolution, outer peace. Relevance in governance and public life: emotional intelligence is in administration. A public servant lacking internal peace is prone to stress, reactivity, corruption, and authoritarian behavior when handling public pressure. Ethical decision making: inner tranquility, sthiti prajna, foster cognitive clarity, enabling administrators to resolve volatile communal or social communal or social crises impartially. Illustrative examples: historical Emperor Ashoka's shift after the Kaling War, internal remorse, and spiritual peace transformed his governance from violent conquest to Dhamma and public welfare. Public service officers practicing mindfulness and self-reflection handle high-stress public agitations with patience and composure, preventing unnecessary police force. Cultivating inner peace through self-awareness and moral discipline equips administrators to build a harmonious, compassionate, and just external society. Life doesn't make any sense without interdependence. We need each other, and the sooner we learn that, it is better for it is better for us all. Eric Erickson, what does this quotation mean to you? Eric Erickson underscores the fundamental reality of human interdependence. Isolated individual existence is an illusion. Personal growth, social order, and civilizational progress rely on mutual trust, cooperation, and shared responsibility. Interdependence framework: social cohesion, administrative synergy, global climate action. Cross caste community mutual support. Actually, it is like this: cross caste or community trust and mutual support. Administrative synergy: state, civil society, and NGO partnerships. Global climate change, global climate action, cross-border collective responsibility Paris Agreement. This small dash or hyphen, it is separating between these relevance in public administration and society. Collective and social action. Tackling complex challenges like poverty, public health crisis, and climate change requires collaborative effort between the state, civil society, and citizens. Inclusive governance, acknowledging interdependence, breaks down caste, class, and regional divides, promoting social solidarity and empathy. Illustrative examples. Public health crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic, individual health dependent entirely on collective compliance with public safety protocols and mutual community assistance. Example oxygen cylinder networks. Civil services. A district collector achieving total literacy or sanitation relies on community participation, Jan Bhagidari, NGOs, and local panchayat leaderships rather than authority alone. Recognizing interdependence transforms administration from top-down command into a participatory partnership, building a compassionate, resilient, and inclusive society. Attitude is an important component that goes as input in the development of human being. How to build a suitable attitude needed for a public servant. Attitude refers to a psychological orientation or learned predisposition to evaluate entities, people, or situations with some degree of favor or disfavor. It shapes perception, decision making, and overt administrative behavior. Building a suitable public service attitude. So this is attitude construction framework, experiential exposure, cognitive re-engineering, role model emulation, cognitive re-engineering, integrating constitutional values, preamble, fundamental duties into administrative trainings at academics like LBS, NAA, Lavasna, Mission Karmi Yogi. Experiential exposure, institutionalizing rural immersions and grassroots attachment to foster genuine empathy, effective component toward marginalized citizens, role modeling and mentorship, exposure to legendary administrators. Example E. Sridharan, Armstrong Payne, who embody integrity and dedication under pressure, incentivizing ethical conduct, recognizing empathetic and transparent officers through public awards, reinforcing positive behavioral patterns. A suitable administrative attitude transforms civil servants from detached rule enforcer into compassionate change agents, ensuring that state power serves the public good. Question 4b. In case of crisis of conscience, does emotional intelligence help to overcome the same without compromising the ethical or moral stand that you are likely to follow? Critically examine. The crisis of conscience occurs when an individual experiences deep inner moral conflict between competing duties, legal mandates, or personal values. Emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and utilize emotions effectively. Critical examination, role of EI in resolving crisis of conscience. The EI resolution mechanism, inner moral conflict, emotional self-regulation, rational ethical synthesis, self-awareness and self-regulation. EI prevents impulsive emotional breakdowns or stress-induced compromises when facing intense political and or administrative pressure. Cognitive clarity for moral firmness. By regulating fear or anxiety, EI enables administrators to stand firm on their ethical principles while navigating organizational friction diplomatically. Empathy and stakeholder balancing. EI aids in understanding competing perspective without abandoning core moral commitments. Example, protecting public interest without unnecessarily escalating interpersonal conflict. Limitation. AI is a procedural tool, not a moral compass by itself. Without strong moral grounding, integrity, high EI can degenerate into manipulative self preservation or clever rationalization of unethical compromises. Emotional intelligence provides the psychological resilience needed to navigate a crisis of conscience, ensuring that moral principles are upheld with administrative tact and maturity. Question 5. Refugees should not be turned back to the country where they would face persecution or human rights violation. Examine the statement with reference to ethical dimensions being violated by the nation claiming to be a democratic with open society. This statement articulates the international customary law principle of non-refoulement. It dictates that no state shall expel or return a refugee to territories where their life or freedom would be threatened. Ethical dimensions violated by democratic open societies. So this is the flow diagram. Ethical principle violated, universal human rights, categorical imperative, hypocrisy, and moral deficit. You can go through this. Violation of human rights, violation of human dignity and right to life. Turning away persecuted individuals violates basic humanitarian ethics, reducing human life to mere geopolitical or security liabilities. Breach of Kantian categorical imperative. Treating desperate refugees as instruments of national convenience rather than ends in themselves contradicts the foundational ethos of an open society. Erosion of constitutional and democratic morality. Democracies claiming global moral leadership lose institutional legitimacy when they prioritize majoritarian nativism over universal ethical duties. Balancing national security. While states have a duty to screen for national security, a blanket rejection of asylum seekers violates the principle of compassionate, rule based global governance. A truly democratic nation must harmonize legitimate national security concern with human rights ethics, upholding non-refoulement as a non-negotiable pillar of global moral responsibility. Should impartial and being non-partisan be considered as indispensable qualities to make a successful civil servant? Discuss with illustrations. Impartiality means acting without bias, prejudice, or favor toward any individual or group based on socio-economic, religious, or political identity. Non-partisanship entails maintaining strict political neutrality, serving whichever elected government hold power with equal dedication and objectivity. Indispensable nature of these qualities. Neutrality and justice pillar. So, impartiality and execution and non-partisanship and advice, equal welfare delivery without bias, Article 1415 spirit, non-partisan, objective evidence-based advice without political alignment. So, preserving public trust, impartiality ensures fair resource distribution, reassuring citizens that state benefits are allocated on merit rather than connections. Example, non-biased PDS or disaster relief distribution. Objective policy advice. Non-partisanship allows bureaucrats to offer fearless, candid advice to political executives, upholding rule of law over political expediency. Institutional continuity. A non-partisan, a non-partisan civil service guarantees smooth governance transition when political power changes hands following elections. Illustrative examples. Officers managing elections under the Election Commission of India demonstrate how non-partisanship safeguards democratic integrity. Communal crisis management. A district magistrate acting impartially during communal tensions during communal tension maintains law and order by treating all lawbreakers equally regardless of community. Impartiality and non-partisanship are foundational virtues. Without them, civil service loses its credibility, converting public administration into a partisan tool. An independent and empowered social audit mechanism is an absolute must in every sphere of public service, including judiciary, to ensure performance, accountability, and ethical conduct. Elaborate. A social audit is a process through which affected communities review, evaluate, and verify the planning, implementation, and outcomes of public services, bringing direct democratic oversight to governance. Role across public service spheres, including judiciary. So the social audit accountability mesh, executive and development, judicial administration, ethical performances. It is the same figure, but because it is not complete from here, so I repost it. Executive and development services. In welfare schemes, example Magnarega in Meghalaya, Andhra Pradesh, social audits expose ghost beneficiaries, financial leakages, and substandard infrastructures, empowering grassroots citizens. Judicial administration, extending social audits to judicial administration, not judicial rulings, enables scrutiny of case pendency, infrastructural bottlenecks, trial delays, and legal aid access. Enforcing ethical conduct, direct public scrutiny deters rent seeking, apathy, and arbitrary discretion across public offices. Democratizing accountability shifts accountability from top down administrative reporting to bottom up citizen led evaluation. Empowering independent social audit mechanisms fulfill SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, institutionalizing participatory democracy and ethical public service delivery. Question 6b. Integrity is a value that empowers the human being. Justify with suitable illustrations. Integrity is the unyielding consistency between one's core ethical principle, stated value, and actual actions, even under intense pressure, temptation, or adversity. How integrity empowers human beings. Empowerment through integrity, internal value alignment, moral courage, fearless action, institutional trust. Moral courage and fearlessness, uncompromising integrity frees individuals from fear of blackmail, political reprisal, or loss of status, bestowing internal strength, institutional credibility, and authority. A person of integrity commands genuine respect and trust, inspiring collective action and organizational transformation. Psychological wholeness eliminates inner cognitive dissonance, enabling clear, confident, and ethical decision making. Illustrative example: Satyendra Dubey, NHAI engineer, exposed massive corruption in the Golden Quadrilateral project. Despite knowing the life threatening risk, his absolute integrity empowered him to challenge entrenched corruption, sparkling national whistleblower protection reforms. Lal Bahadur Shastri, resigning as railway minister following a major train accident, demonstrated high accountability and integrity, cementing his moral authority as a leader. Integrity is the ultimate source of human empowerment. It transforms ordinary individuals into fearless pillars of ethical leadership and moral progress.